Now we're going to move from the beautiful south to the global south. That's the line that was given to me by my next guest. It's Tom McLeanachan. Tom, thank you very much for that. Would you like to work on the radio?
Oh, well, maybe. I mean, but if you're going to steal all my lines, then perhaps I should be. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Right. So we're going to talk about the work of the Voluntary Service Overseas, the VSO. What happens is they place young people on 3-month placements abroad. It's about finding out about the country, about helping out people that are there and really getting an insight into what's happening. And explain to us, Tom, where it was that you went.
So I was lucky enough to volunteer in Uganda last year, which was a really, really fantastic experience. It was sort of living and volunteering in a very small rural community on the Nile with a big international group of young people. So it's made up of half volunteers from the UK, between 18 and 25, and everyone has a Ugandan counterpart. So it's working in combination to tackle, some of the biggest development issues.
Yeah. And presumably with a country like Uganda, you read up on it, you look at pictures and you watch films. Did that prepare you for the reality?
Well, I mean, there's only so much you can really prepare for in advance. I mean, one of the biggest challenges and, one of the things that's most exciting about working in Uganda in these circumstances, how unpredictable everything is, we did a lot of teaching in schools and community events, and you really never know what's going to happen next, which makes it quite exciting. And it means that, you have to be quite flexible to the circumstances. But it's something that I'd recommend all sort of young people to look into as a good opportunity to develop their skills and make a positive difference in the world.
Yeah, which is what hopefully you are doing, making that positive difference, because, we, of course, know the impact here of the global pandemic and how we are living with it and adapting to it. But what's the situation in Uganda?
Well, I mean, I guess Uganda has maybe the benefit of a bit of extra preparation time of seeing what happened elsewhere in the world. So they have, as far as I'm aware, they haven't had a single death due to COVID yet. But of course, it's a relatively poor country, and the inequalities that exist there are further, compounded by the problems of COVID. Uganda's still in lockdown, so there's sort of facing a lot of similar problems, but perhaps even more amplified. I think Uganda has one of the benefits of having a very young population, and as we know, they're slightly less susceptible to the disease. It's obviously posing great challenges out there. And subsequent to doing ICS, I formed an organisation with some other friends who volunteered with there. And as with the rest of the charity sector, and I'm sure this is the case with the ICS program, you have to adapt to what's possible to do, and that means doing a lot of stuff online, and that's obviously has its limitations.
And having been out there and experienced it, you knew where the problems were going to lie, certainly with this pandemic. And one of the big issues, of course, is washing of the hands, which is a basic that we take for granted. But that's not the case everywhere, is it?
Exactly. I think that was part of the inspiration from doing ICS and to keep doing this kind of work, is seeing firsthand the challenges that people have on a daily basis in rural Uganda. Something as simple as fetching water can take up to 2 hours for a household. You have to walk to a borehole and then queue, and then the quality of the water isn't suitable for drinking. And this is time that people could be spending studying, working, living their lives. It's often a burden that young people have to carry, literally carrying water, especially for young women and girls. They're often the water carriers in a lot of families. So it's seeing that challenge and enjoying working together on the ICS program with my group. We're with an organisation called Restless Development. The VSO worked in partnership with these, and they're a youth-led agency that puts people at the forefront. So we saw, an opportunity on using that model for us to sort of do our own thing, really, and try to make as much of a positive difference as we could.
And this is where Equal Aqua has come about. Explain about what that's all about.
Yeah, so this is a group of 8 ICS alumni. We were all volunteers with Restless Development. They were sort of so inspired by the difference to have a go at setting up our own organisation, specialising in water and the issues around sanitation and hygiene. So what we're hoping to do is we'll tackle the inequalities around water. So like, what do I mean by this? Well, there could be, inequalities of geography. So rural and urban populations might have different access. Inequalities of gender, as I mentioned, women and girls are the main water carriers, so targeting our programs towards them. And a practical example of what we're doing is running workshops in local communities. During COVID, during lockdown, we've had to do a lot of these workshops online, but they're still being very successful. And these are, again, using a lot of the skills that we learned on the ICS program. So, for example, we're teaching how to make liquid soap, sort of an easy and more affordable way to get this disinfectant. Again, it ties into problems around COVID. We're doing sessions on making reusable sanitary pads. So this is a more eco-friendly and cheaper alternative to disposable pads. And yeah, like everyone else, we've had to adapt this to do it online. But we're just finding the whole experience really, really rewarding and seeing that it's making a positive difference already.
And talking about this takes money, doesn't it, for this project? And how are you going about doing that? And would you like some more help?
Oh, most definitely. So far, sort of our pilot project, our major project, which is building a water tank for a school, is something that we just finished last week. So we're really, really excited about that. And this was funded exclusively through family and friends, just people who are sort of inspired by the project and wanted to get involved. And we hope eventually to be applying for government grants for this. And this is something that Restless Development have been giving us ongoing support with as well. So it's great that they have that kind of long-term development process for their volunteers. But of course, if any of your listeners are interested in learning more about the project or supporting us, they'll be able to find us via our website, equalaqua.org, or via social media as well.
Would you ever have dreamt, Tom, when you first went out there to do your 3-month placement, that it would have grown into what it has now, and the model that you have and the people that you've got involved, the money that you're raising, and the lives that you're really making a difference to?
I think definitely not. No, really. It was kind of life-changing, you could say, in that sense. It was, while doing the program, it was immediately obvious to us that we had something special within our group. We felt like that we really enjoyed working together so much. But we had a vision of what we'd like to see, but there's no way we'd expected that we could sort of progress so quickly, building water tanks for schools, running these workshops, getting interest from yourself and other media. So yeah, I definitely did not foresee myself sat here speaking to you. So we appreciate all the support we've got.
Well, you're more than welcome. What an advert for the Voluntary Service Overseas organisation, and you're certainly somebody who would encourage anybody who gets the opportunity to take it up.
Certainly, and then the opportunities available to young people, more so than ever during COVID-19, are very limited, aren't they? So it's something that any young person between 18 and 25 can do. You don't need any specific skills or cash or qualifications. If you want to be a team leader on the program, which I was, it goes up to 35 as well. So I'd definitely encourage your listeners, or if they know any young people who'd be interested to get involved, to look up the ICS program and look into getting involved as well.
It's been a pleasure chatting to you. Thank you so much for giving me your time. That's Tom McLeanachan. I don't know if I pronounced that right in the end.